Evening.
So there are normally 30
There are normally a lot more. We were just saying last week it was absolutely tipping it down with rain, and we had a really good turnout. And this week everybody's obviously all outside they're all at the King's Head having a beer in the nice weather.
Okay, they're racing.
Well, you can, yeah. Don't let me stop you. So, for our new guests, welcome to the Deal Mindfulness group. We practice a bit of mindfulness, and if you know nothing or only a little about mindfulness, it's all about being in the moment, being in the present moment, not being concerned with the past, because the past is gone, we can't change it, we can't do anything about it. Not being concerned with the future, because the future hasn't happened. We don't know what's going to happen. It's not worth us getting worried and bothered about. It's about being in the present moment. And being is the important word there, because we are human beings. We are not human doings. We are not human thinkings. We are human beings. And sometimes we should allow ourselves to just be. And I started off talking about the number 3. And the number 3 being very important. It's important in lots of aspects of life, but we can use it within our practice of mindfulness. So, the first thing that comes in 3s, as I've just mentioned, is time. We have past, we have present, we have future. 3 elements of time. Then, a core part of the practice of mindfulness is our breath and our awareness of our breath. And as we will find out later on when we do a breathing exercise, there are 3 elements to our breath. We breathe in, we breathe out, and then there is a pause between breaths. Again, 3 stages to our breath: in, out, and pause. And I always say that if you can be aware of just 3 breaths, if you can pause, stop for long enough to just be aware of 3 breaths, it will instantly bring you into the present moment and bring you a bit of peace. The other thing that comes in 3s is the way that we can respond to the present moment. So in this moment right now, when we are mindful and we're in the moment, and whatever is happening, we are confronted within the present moment, there are 3 ways that we can respond to that, to be, what's the best word? In order to be content, in order to allow ourselves not to have a negative response. Yeah, there are 3 responses which are positive. The first is to enjoy what's happening in the present moment. The second is to enthuse. If we can't enjoy it, at least try and be enthusiastic about it. Accept that maybe it's a little bit challenging, but we can give it a go. We can be enthusiastic. The third, for when the present moment presents you with something which you can't enjoy, you can't be enthusiastic about, it's a bit crappy, you can just accept it. If you can accept that this is what's happening in the present moment, and that it will change. That's the one thing that you can guarantee. The present moment will change. What you are presented with in the present moment is transient. It will change. But if you can accept it at this point in time, then that's a positive response. So again, there's another 3. Enjoy, enthuse, and accept. And I often say to people, when they come to me for help, I'll say, just look at 3 things, 3 elements. If there are 3 small, if there's something big you want to change, find 3 small things to change. One of those should be to be more mindful. Opportunities throughout the day, even 3 times during the day. But just look for 3 small things that you can change, and then that'll amplify and make a bigger impact in your life. Right. So that's the number 3. So we've got the 3 elements of time, the 3 stages in the breath, in, out, pause, and the 3 responses to the present moment. They're not 3 reactions. We don't react. That's negative to react. We respond. It's much more positive and powerful way to treat the present moment. Okay. Let's move on and we'll do our sitting exercise. Then I'm going to talk a little bit about experience. And then I've got another exercise to do after that, and I've got a twist on it, which I think you'll enjoy. You will love it. You will love it. And hopefully everybody else will enjoy it as well. Right. Some of you are very familiar with this exercise. Some of you will not have done it before, probably. Maybe you have. But in this exercise, we engage our senses. So in order to establish ourselves in time and space, in this moment right now, we use the information that our senses are gathering and giving us in order to place ourselves in the present moment. And we begin with our vision, and we just look around, and we just allow visual information in through our eyeballs, and we look at shapes and colour, visual texture, and we just see in this moment in time right now. And then when you're ready, you can close your eyes and you can bring your awareness to your body, sat on the seat. Aware of your back pressing against the back of the pew. Aware of the weight of your bottom pressing down through the seat. Aware of your feet in contact with the floor. Aware of your head perched on your neck, on top of your shoulders. Aware of your shoulders. Aware of any tension that you're holding in them. Aware of that tension just releasing down through your arms. Aware of the fabric of your clothes on your skin, on your arms, on your legs. And maybe even aware of the very faint movement of air on your skin. Maybe on your face or your neck, on your hands. Ever so faint. And then take a nice breath in through your nose and just smell. Just be aware of smell. You're not trying to smell anything in particular. Just allowing your awareness to accept smell. And taste. Aware of the taste in your mouth at this moment. Then you can begin to listen. And you can begin to become aware of the sound of the body. You extend the field of your hearing wider and wider, just allowing the sound to happen, allowing the sound to enter your ears and to enter your awareness. And you may find that your mind wanders. You may find that thoughts and ideas just happen. And that's fine. That's what brains do. It's absolutely fine that that happens. Just be aware of it. Be aware of those thoughts. Be aware of those little deviations of the mind. Just accept them and then bring your attention and your awareness back to listening. You can just allow yourself to relax into that sound. Sound that you may think is not relaxing. But when you just accept it as sound, it's very different. You can relax into it. Good. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. I was trying to think of what to talk about this evening. And I went back to look at and think about some of the things that I'd spoken about before. One of the things that I spoke about was the spiral. When we walk through life, on our journey through life, it's more like a spiral. Sometimes we think it's a circle. We're going round and round in circles, passing the same point time and again. But the reality is it's actually a spiral. And it's a different... The path is always its own path through the present moment. When I was aware of people saying, or people making reference, we spoke about it afterwards, people making references to the past and the experiences in our lives and how those experiences shape us. And I was aware of the fact that I often say that, the past is gone. You have to let go of the past and just be in the moment. And it almost is, I think possibly it's almost doing a disservice to people's experience. Now, in many cultures, when people get to an age, they are revered and respected because of the life experience that they have. And we place a lot of value on people's experience. But me, personally, a lot of the skills that believe I have come from my experience, the things that have happened in my life. And also people that have dreadful experiences. That shapes them. You know, many people that have great strength and great character and great qualities, often that has been shaped through dreadful experiences, whether that's illness or loss, tragedy, whatever. And so to say to somebody, you've got to almost dismiss the past because it's gone, is possibly doing it a slight disservice. You know, there are some that practice mindfulness that will say, well, you do. Whatever has happened, even tragedy and death. If it's in the past, it's in the past. You let it go. You're in the moment. But it's hard. So I think that experience has value. I don't know what the answer is to this talk. I don't know where I'm going with it. Just so you're aware, I don't know what the answer is. I'm just exploring this now, thinking on my feet. And I was doing this, I was thinking earlier, I was going, I don't quite know what I'm going to say. And as is the great power of the present moment, I just fired up the internet, went onto Facebook just to see if anybody had posted anything about this evening and whether they were coming or not. And straight away, top post, there was something on there from Thich Nhat Hanh, who's a Buddhist monk. I don't know if you've heard of him. And he's got a retreat in France, Plum Village. And he's a great exponent of mindfulness. And there was a lady in this post who'd just been awarded she'd been granted or awarded the, what was it? She'd become a Dharma teacher. And Thich Nhat Hanh was giving her certificate as being a Dharma teacher. And she talked about experience. And she also talked about having to give a speech when she went to accept her award. And everybody else had prepared these speeches. And she thought, I'm not going to prepare anything. I'm not going to prepare anything. I'm just going to be present. And I'm going to stand up on stage. And I will just talk. I will talk about my experience of what brought me to Plum Village, what brought me to become a Dharma teacher. And she said she wasn't nervous, she wasn't apprehensive, it didn't scare her that she didn't know what she was going to say, but she knew that she would be able to channel something. And so that's what I'm practicing tonight. I thought, that's what I do. I just channel something, and draw from my own experience. And that was another thing that made me think maybe I'll talk about experience. There's people saying to me, when did it start for you? You know, did you train? Did you practice? Are you qualified to stand up in a church and talk to people about mindfulness? I say, well, if I think back to when I was a child, and I have one distinct memory. Don't know how old I was. I think I was possibly 9 or 10. And I think that's where my awareness of the present moment started, because I was in the car, and I know where I was up in Nottingham where I lived as a kid. I was on Westdale Lane in Mapley, just near the dentist's, and there's a zebra crossing, and we were in the car, stopped at the zebra crossing, and there was a tree, and I looked at the tree, and there was a leaf at the top of the tree. And I remember looking at this leaf, seeing the colour of the leaf at the angle that it was with the sun shining on it. Seeing that leaf, and then the wind rustled the tree. And at that point I realised that how I was seeing that tree, I would never see it again. How that appeared to me just then, that particular leaf, that colour, that angle, I would never ever see again. And I look back on that now, and I think, crikey, that's quite deep for a 9, 10-year-old boy. But I think that's where it started, that's where my experience of it started. And I always hold on to that. So whilst I'm referring back to the past, I kind of use that as my starting point for my mindful practice now. Now, if I could be aware of that as a small boy, then I've got no excuse now that I'm an adult with greater powers of awareness. Maybe I haven't got, maybe that's the thing, maybe I haven't got greater powers of awareness. Maybe that was the very peak and the very zenith of my mindfulness, was that 10-year-old boy looking at a tree from the inside of a car on Westdale Lane. But I suppose that's where it stems from. So where does experience and mindfulness come in? What is the link? And I suppose what it should be, and when it's at its finest, is when we are able to channel it in the present moment. So like that lady going up to speak in front of all of those esteemed Buddhist monks who've all spent years practicing and meditating, and she supposedly reached this level of Dharma teacher. She just decided that in that moment she would just trust her experience and channel it through the present moment. And I think that's the approach. I think that's the right approach. So you don't treat your experience as a treasure trove or as something precious that you have to lock away, or that is valuable and that you must protect. You know, in the way that people like to cling on to the past, because that's not what mindfulness is. It's not about clinging on to the past. It's about being in the moment. But our experience gives us something to share. And I've said before that the greatest present you can give to another person is to be present, is to be in the moment, to be there for them. And when you're talking and communicating and sharing with them, if you can channel your experience in that present moment and share that with them, then that's when mindfulness and your experience come together and fuse and become something very powerful and useful. Yeah, I think I got to a point in the end. I think I did. I think I made one. Okay. I was laying in bed last night and things started going on. I don't think I've said anything of the stuff that actually came into my head when I was laying in bed. And that's the thing with mindfulness. It's something that I've said before. You know, we sit there and we rehearse scenarios, we rehearse conversations, we rehearse the things that we're going to say in a given situation. We go over it and over it and over it. And then we don't say any of those things. The conversations that we practice and the scenarios that we run through in our head don't actually happen. You know, those arguments that we walk ourselves through don't ever materialise. That's quite funny. The things that I rehearsed in bed laying there last night have just not happened as I've spoken this evening, which is the perfect illustration of what I tried to teach. You know, I haven't practiced, but there we go. Okay. Moving on. Let's move on to the breathing exercise now. And at the outset, I mentioned the three elements of breath: the in, the out, and the pause. And we're going to focus on that. Sometimes we do the breathing exercise and we'll start at particular points. We'll start at the nostrils and then we'll work our way back. And so that we build up an awareness of the whole cycle and process of our breath. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to start with the whole thing, because what I'd like to do is develop it into a thing called a metta meditation. Has anybody heard of that? A Metta. Okay. Well, this should be interesting. This will allow us to be mindful and then extend. And it's about being present with other people, even though those people maybe are not present with us now. We'll see. So, I'm going to use the bowl. When I strike the bowl, I'd like you to bring your awareness to your breath. And you feel the breath, you feel the air going in, and you're aware of the breath going out. So turn your awareness to your breathing. It immediately brings you again to this present moment. You can only breathe in the present moment. So you breathe in, feel yourself being alive. Breathe out and allow yourself to smile at life. And then be aware of that pause that happens between breaths. So for the next few moments, you're just being aware of your breath. Breathing in and feeling alive. Breathing out, smiling at life. And then relaxing into that pause between breaths. Being aware of the stillness and the peace that exists in that pause. Just follow each breath and each part of the breath as it happens in this moment in time. If your mind wanders again, it's absolutely fine. Just bring your awareness back to the breath. Back to the part of the cycle that you're currently in this moment in time. Now this is where we try something new. As you breathe and you follow your breath and you feel that peace, you feel that calm in the present moment, I would like you to bring to your awareness a sense of well-being within yourself, an awareness of happiness within yourself. An awareness of love, of loving yourself. And just sit with that for a few moments as you breathe, you feel calm. Just be aware of that wellness and well-being and peace, and love that you express towards yourself. This moment in time, you're not doing anything, you're not thinking about anything particularly, you're just being alive, being aware of your own well-being, and your own joy and peace and love in that well-being. Now bring to your awareness somebody that is close to you. A special friend, partner, a loved one. Someone in your life that you really care about. And as you breathe, feel yourself connect with them. And feel yourself extending that well-being, that happiness and that love to them. Wishing them well, wishing them love, wishing them peace. Connect with them through the breath. And feel yourself extending that well-being and that love and peace that you feel in this moment with them. Extending it to them. As you extend it and it reverberates, it almost amplifies. Now bring to your awareness somebody who you have an acquaintance with, a passing relationship with. Your relationship with them is almost indifferent. There's somebody in your life who you neither love deeply nor detest. But just bring them to your awareness. And allow yourself to extend to them that feeling of well-being, of wishing them to do well, of wishing them peace, and of extending love to them. This is not romantic love, this is just a love of life, an acknowledgement and an awareness of your life and their life, and loving being alive. Allow yourself to be aware of extending that energy to them. Finally, I'd like you to bring to your awareness somebody that you dislike. Somebody that you know that you don't like. And connect with them through your breath. And again, extend to them that well-being, happiness, and love of life. Allow yourself to share that with them. in this moment. And now bring all 4 of those people to your awareness. Your dear friend or loved one. The person you have friendship with. That acquaintance. The indifferent one, and then the person that you dislike. And yourself first. Yourself, and your loved one, and the indifferent person, and the person that you don't like, or didn't like. And just allow yourself now to connect all 4 people through your breath. Connect with all 4. Yourself, your loved ones, those acquaintances, those people that you don't really like. And just extend to all of them well-being, peace, and love of life. And then finally, as you breathe and are aware of your breath, in, out, and the pause. Connect with everybody else in the room. And all of that energy that has been circulating. Just be aware of that. Aware of everybody else's good feeling and your own. And just tune into it. Just be aware of and share the love of life emanating from everybody in the room. When you're ready, you can open your eyes.